getting work on it.
What?
It's completely full. The hard drive.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I mean, I can't. Well, I can't do my work on it. Some of your things didn't upload, so I don't know. Maybe don't fix
Well,
like three of them.
did you close any
I didn't
tabs?
close anything. The only
The only thing that you need to know about 2020 in terms of astrology, Mars went retrograde in Aries. That's the only thing that you need to know because it's the only significant thing that has happened in that horrible year. Horrible. And if it was so horrible, why do I find interest in looking at the astrology of that particular year? I think that one wouldn't be too surprised why I would be interested because it was such a wild year. And a lot happened. Now, there's 5 things that you need to know. Number 1, it was a time to dig deep into the structures that take away our power. And that's because on January 12th, Saturn conjuncted Pluto. Number 2, it was a time to consider our social structures and consider what are the foundations that need to be put in place for the long term to better humanity. And that was because Saturn was moving into Aquarius that year. The third thing is to reflect upon what fuels you to take action and what actions are worth taking and which aren't taking. And how should you use your power? That was because Mars went retrograde in its ruling sign. And the fifth thing that you need to know is a new era has begun. Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct in Aquarius on December 21st. And a final thing that you need to know, and for some random reason I'm throwing this in here, but to reevaluate the intellectual relationship that you have to somebody else. That was because Venus also went retrograde in Gemini. So you have a year where Venus went retrograde and Mars went retrograde in the same year, and they both started and ended in the same year in terms of the actual retrograde phase. Isn't that amazing? Along with all the other retrograde planets. I mean, that was the, retrograde year. It was certainly, it's certainly no laughing matter what happened. But it really was a reality check to what are you talking about? If you have anything to talk about, come in here and tell me.
was trying to do my work, and the only way I could do my work was to move the files to the C drive.
But somehow that messed up the uploading process. What? But why did that mess up the uploading process?
The only files I could find to move were the download. Those were all the ones that were like about a gigabyte a piece. Like,
Well, did you do anything to mess up the uploading of those videos? I hope.
no, I moved them back.
So what did you do? Did you delete the uploading process?
It's not that hard to know.
What are you talking about? Who likes comedy? It's not a What is this about liking comedy here?
No, if you, can I just explain this? I needed space on the computer, so I moved them to the other hard drive. I didn't realize that those were the ones you were trying to upload. So when it was missing, it stopped uploading. There are 3 files that stopped uploading.
So the video has to be in a certain file for it to upload.
I mean, if I moved it from its location
That doesn't make
to another, it's trying to get more data out of it. If it's not there, it's going to fail. It's upload. I moved them back, but it.
Okay, well, in the future you won't do that because
No,
it apparently
but in the
messed up the
future,
upload.
please be done with all that
Yep,
kind of
okay,
stuff
yeah.
before
Okay, I get it, but in the future don't do anything, okay? That's gonna make it worse. Then I'm gonna be uploading more stuff because it's gonna be all for naught then. What? Okay, well, you know what? It's more effective and it's smarter to eat, and I'm smiling because it's ridiculous. It's smarter to not mess up the uploading because then I would be uploading less on that computer because then when you would go down and mess it up, it wouldn't be all for naught, would it?
No, just
Boom.
in the morning, do the uploading early in the morning when I'm not here.
Yeah, I get it. But just, I don't like it when someone goes down there and does that. Because it's all for naught. You know, you wouldn't like you to do something when you messed it up. I'm not going to get rid of that. I wanted to talk about Mars retrograde. That can happen when Mars goes retrograde in Aries, particularly with Mars in Aries to begin with, but especially with Mars retrograde in Aries. Fortunately, this isn't 2020. Mars isn't retrograde in its home sign. And we've moved on and we've improved and the world has gotten better. So the whole process of the retrograde started around July 25th of that year. On September 9th, it stationed retrograde, and I can remember what was happening on September 9th. I had an Edmonton guest come. Her name was Christy from Dance Moms, and of course, over that period, I really, was watching sort of the deep files of Dance Moms and what it entailed. And she was one of the moms on the show, Christy. If you've ever seen Dance Moms, it's a show about girls who grow up and dance under the direction of dance teacher Abby Lynn Miller, who is the famous, well-known version and probably the more extreme version, probably, of my 5th grade teacher that I had. And when I was in with her, the South Node of the Moon was in Aries, which deals with unhealthy, negative stuff that we need to move away from that's not serving us. There's also a higher side of that. She did not embody and portray the high vibration of Aries. It was really low vibration. Very low vibration. Incredibly. And Northern was in Libra. It was 2014 fall of that year, pointing towards peace, harmony, collaboration, balance, beauty, those kind of things. Getting along with others, not tearing others down, breaking others down, which is what she did to me so often. And I know I had a friend, she, tore him down multiple times out of that year. It was sad, but anyway. But so it went retrograde on September 9th. Christy was one of the moms on the show that caused, some trouble. More trouble, maybe. And then another important moment of September 29th. Where on September 29th, it was in all of our best interest to understand where we have control and where we lack control. Where the ego wants what it wants. And sometimes the best path to go down is to surrender and to choose humility. And, at the time, I really don't know. And that is wildly expressing towards what my circumstance kind of was at the time. But so anyway, I don't care to deal with it or hinting at something. I don't care to, dredge up 2020 too much. And I think I wouldn't be the only one. There's certain, really positive things about my experience in that year, and honestly positive memories that I remember having, which I'm not going to deny. But I find it so uncanny. And I find it profound that there was somebody else who had a last name which is a step in preparing fried and breaded chicken. Somebody who had a last name that deals with fixating on and digging up something. And it was not the same person that I was in relationship with for 4 years, who did fixate and dig deep into situations and did question people, did sort of, but no, that wasn't his name. He also, this person that I was in a relationship with for 4 years, was a Taurus sun, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, and there's plenty of positive things to the sign of Taurus. His Lilith, which is, shadow aspects, what you ejected that person, reject out of that person your fear as unconscious material, that was in Scorpio. The sun in Taurus conjunct Mars in Taurus. And Saturn in Libra probably coming up to conjunct my moon in Libra. And he is of the millennial generation. And I've noticed with a couple people of that generation, there is a certain quality and certain traits, personality traits. I can think of one person that really embodies those in a really positive way. But I did reject the qualities and traits of the person that I've known for 4 years. From August 2019 through May of 2022. That was the stretch of time that I knew this person. And we did not have a true relationship. And I do want to have some files and some videos for you to see the millennial persona, the millennial attitude that I'm talking about when it comes to certain personalities in the world. Keep in mind that Scorpio is a sign that deals with digging into and probing into the truth, finding the answers, squeezing the juice out of something. And, yeah. And Mars in Aries is about assertion, it's also about aggression. And so the themes of Mars retrograde, particularly the heavy, intense motion and bottling that up, pretty heightened that time. And I think a really profound graphic image is on the 15th of September when I was taking a walk, I was seeing the smoke and the brush fires up in the sky from the west. And I find that an image that was really early on in Mars retrograde, but it was actually the Mars retrograde. And I find it really remarkable how it happened, so early in September. Like, to me, I feel like it should have happened later, like, this one, which happened on the 30th of October. But if it started in July, I was seeing something about, okay, well, Mars enters shadows this week, as if it was so huge in July. So I was confused, and then happened on the 9th of September, like it officially went retrograde in September, and it was officially retrograde by the 15th of the month. And the brush fires that were going on, to me, is a profound image because it deals with fires and Mars retrogrades, crazy energy. Sort of more negative view for Mars is it doesn't function. It's not in its full power as it would when it would be direct. In Aries is fire. Mars rules Aries, and so I just found that profound. I didn't look as good. I didn't sound as good. And I was dealing with certain issues with my invention at the time. People refusing to follow the rules. And um and I have to think about also to take into consideration my relationship with Zach Callison, the singer actor, has changed over that year. So when Mars entered shadow, July, I was really feeling really positively and close to him. Then July, he went back home, took a break from the inventing, came back in October, came in October around the 10th, I want to say, then left, came back again around the 27th. And it was when this happened that I started to notice changes in how I felt about this person, that he was not living up to the guidelines that I set. And that was one thing, nosing into my own personal business and other things too. But I remember the day that Mars went direct, and I was angry. I was very angry. I was trying to read a book, the short story, The Blue Hotel. I remember this. It's really vividly. It is on video. And then multiple times when I was in the meeting, I kept getting interrupted. And so I got really reactive and I needed to, sit down and go to the restroom at the time. So that was also adding to my, sort of moody quality. But it was different. It changed and I did not seem in the same way. And the next year things improved. 2021 next year. So, then Mars went retrograde in Gemini this year, and sort of the transits I would caution people of in 2022 is the retrogrades in Gemini. So the Mercury retrograde in Gemini this year, and then the Mars retrograde. I mean, I really caution people. I mean, I was conscious of it. I did, when I got stressed out, it wasn't the time to get stressed out when Mars is in retrograde. So it's astrological info about that, but maybe when a planet's retrograde in its own sign, meaning a personal planet, maybe when Mercury retrogrades in Gemini, next time I said to myself, I'm going to go on a retreat. That's a promise I'm going to make to myself in 2028, I think it is. That's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to go on a retreat until I think mid-June, come back. Because I'm not dealing with the same roller coaster turbulence that I, dealt with where I did not feel grounded in May, the middle of May of this of last year. So yeah, I'm gonna take that time out, and whatever is going on, I'm not going to be available for that because I am going to be away to retreat. So that's all I want to say for that part of it. Stop this live stream.